All right, so the first thing that we have to do is to do what? We find the center of the face, right? So I'm gonna use this. So put it right between the two. And then I just gently pinch it lightly. And then the skinniest of line. You see that super skinny? Then I would ask my client, now help me please, can you make sure that this is right at the center? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Right, and then you can use a little bit of a headband right here, put it on top of her ears, and then ask the client to look straight up, and then I will check her eye socket. Like this eye is slightly higher than this eye, just maybe a millimeter or two only. So now I put this on and make sure that it is perfectly horizontal, right? Just press it down. Then I gently drag this line across, just gently, right? So this will give me sort of like a guidance when I apply the sticker. Or if you want to, you can use this piece of sticker and then just put, as you see how I put my finger on the top of the ears there, right? And then I apply the sticker. I want to make sure that it is as horizontal as possible. Put this down, drag a line. Does that make sense? So do anything really, just basically to find that horizontal line, right? Whatever you can. Her eyebrows are pretty close together, and this thing is quite wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim it even before peeling it, because it will be much easier to cut when it's still on the paper. So when you put it on, let's say you practice or you work on a client and you later found out that this piece is like, over her eyebrows a little bit, you can still kind of cut it on her skin. That makes sense? It'll be... So when you put it on a real client, don't make it less sticky by putting on your shirt or whatnot, okay? You can just put straight on. So hold it like this, and then just start putting at the center of the face first. And then the sticker, see that the bottom of the sticker just basically at the bottom point of the, around point 4, right? Then I carefully apply this according to the horizontal line. Now, this is my best guesstimate that this should be even. But then I have to check with measurement. So since her eye socket is slightly uneven, so I'm gonna have to look for a different point. So I'm gonna use this, and then I'm gonna apply this one right at the bottom of her nose, right there. So I'm gonna hold this in place and pick a number. I'm gonna go ahead and pick number 2, like that. And then I'm gonna clamp it. So this one is a little bit too high. Let me double check. Or maybe I was holding it wrong. 2. Okay, this looks good. I'm actually gonna just bring this down just a smidge. Yep, that should work now. Okay, and then you can also ask the client to help you look if this ruler is quite horizontal. What do you think?
I think this is a little lower than this.
This one is lower.
A little.
Okay, close your eyes. Is it better? Just slightly, just a smidge.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So now when the sticker is on, so what's next on that book, on that list?
Stickers on. Complete 3 vertical lines to
Determines
determine point
place.
1, 4, 3, and 2.
Okay, so using what?
The golden ratio.
Golden
caliper.
ratio caliper, right? So now I'm gonna ask the client to try to look at her own forehead as much as they can. Like go up more, right this way, look this way. Good. And then I use arm number 1 and 2 to point at the white eye. Look at my finger right here. Good, now relax. So the golden ratio suggests 1 millimeter start.
Okay.
Okay, yes. So arm 1 and 2 to the white eye, and then this piece right at the center of the forehead, and look at what this arm says.
The top of that, the
Yeah,
gap of
yeah,
the arm, right?
yeah, the top here. So it says 1 millimeter. Now, step 4.1, what do I have to do?
Check eye set using
Okay,
construction
look up
caliper.
again. So now look, this is the whole opening. Now look at right here. The whole opening of the eye. See that? And then now close. I put it right here. So she is what?
The close set.
Close set, because the space is smaller than the width of one eye, right? So close set, rule sets,
Add 2 millimeters of what golden ratio caliper suggests.
right? So add 2 millimeters. So it says 1, right? The golden ratio suggests 1. So according to that rule, it should add 2. So it went at 3, right? So 1, 2, 3. So 3 would be here, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3. So now, as you can see, this is where her eyebrow naturally start, but then the golden ratio, according to that rule, right? We should start here. It doesn't mean I'm gonna shave her off. It only means that when I start shading, this is gonna be where I stop.
Oh, okay.
So I would not bring the color past that point anymore, because then it will make it even more intense inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right, so I actually wanted to stop right there and not pass this hair. I'm not gonna shave it or pluck it out.
Because you want to keep as much of the natural hair
Right.
as possible.
I mean, most clients would not want to
Yeah.
lose the hair,
Yeah.
right? But in terms of the makeup itself, we don't want to fill it in to make it look more intense on the inside.
Yeah.
So that means when I start, so when I do first layer, I'm gonna do from the tail to the head, meaning here, but then when I do the second layer from head, I'm gonna stop about here, right? Second layer, third layer, I'm gonna stop about here so that this area will be the lightest, okay? So now that I know where I'm gonna start my mapping, right, point 1.4, I'm gonna put on my gloves because hand-ring fret usually makes your hand really messy, right? And then I'm gonna run fingers through a little bit, like one time, 2 times so that the pigment is not so wet on thread. And then I wrap it around my, oops, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So around my middle finger, and then use the index to support, thumb to clamp, control. Then I put the string on the ruler first. You see how I'm sitting on the side of the client? So 0 is at the edge of the box, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Good. Yep. All right, so now you see that when I do the string, I kind of wrap it all the way down.
Yeah.
Follow that curve of the bone structure. Okay, now. Then, next point, what do we have to do?
Determine how long or wide the eyebrow will be. So point
Step number 5, right? So we want to determine point 3. Now, turn your face this way a little bit. So, right here, you see that her eyebrows are quite long, right? So on this side, she's about at 6 centimeter. Now I check on the other side. This side, her eyebrows are shorter. So this is where we're gonna be talking to the client, like, hey, where do you want your eyebrows to be? You want to match this side, or you want to get a little bit shorter, maybe 5.8, and then would 5.8 work for you, and lose like tiny little bit of that tail, right? Because even if she lose, this is 5.8, even if she lose that tiny little bit, or she doesn't do anything with it, if it grows, it's not gonna look ugly.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But if I extend, right?
Yeah.
And then this one is gonna be all blank at the tail here.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what the client wants. Does it make sense? Which one would you prefer?
I'll follow this.
Okay, so 5.8, 5.8. Okay. All right. Then next step.
Determine the highest point of the top of the line using golden ratio caliper. Point number 2.
So step number 6, we don't need this piece anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. Okay, so arm number 1, point where point 1 should be, right? And then here, number 3. But you see that she has hair, so I'm gonna actually use the hair bit and not just the marking. Does that make sense? Right? So this one can bend a little bit.
Oh, to go with her.
The curvature of the face. Yeah? So, hold it in place, and then I can go right in between the thing, right? Or you can just mark right here, same thing. Does that make sense? On the tip of that thing. So now on the tip of that thing, you see that on the tip of that thing, it says 3.7, which is pretty on point with her natural art, right? Actually, 3.6 would look better. So, okay, I'm doing 3.6. Okay, all right. So,
now moving on to 7, but it says
good. Complete 3 horizontal lines to determine point 4.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay, good. So 3 horizontal line would be like this, right? 1 here, and then 1 up here. Correct? So now, step number 7, align point number 4.
Of
Right.
the 2 eyebrows, and you have to talk to
the client. Now, you see that naturally, this eyebrow is slightly lower than this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I put it right here horizontally, and then talk to the client and show her, okay, you see that this one is slightly higher by a couple, like maybe like about a millimeter, right? So do you want to start right there? Yeah. So that means if she gets her eyebrows done, if she plucks some of it off below the line, her eyebrows will look cleaner. But if she doesn't, it would not look ugly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then next step, I will start from the line that I just created, and then show her how thick her natural brow is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Her natural brow is around an 8. Do you think are you happy with just your natural thickness? So go ahead and with the 8, press it down and then slide. Okay. Now, which one is higher? This side is higher, right? This side? This side? So I start from here and then match. So this one, you okay with losing a little bit of hair up here on this side? Yeah? Okay, if she's okay with that, so make sure it aligns perfectly on the ruler. Boom. Right, so at this time, we have 0.1, 0.4, 0.2, so 1, 4, 2. Does that make sense? Right, and now what's next?
Determine the height of the brow tail.
The tail. So by doing what?
With that one, you're supposed to go to 2 to 3.
Right, follow the hair growth pattern. So coming from 2, and then I follow the top of the eyebrow, not the bottom, but the top of it. And then go and point. So she's naturally go to about 2.1 on this side. And then this one, she's going at 1.9. So 1.9, 2.1, 2 millimeter difference.
And that's fine.
That's fine, correct? And since I know her, she would refuse to shave off any of her brow. She would rather kill me, basically, than lose that tail, right?
Right. I took some.
So now I'm gonna go right there at the intersection where the white dot is and go down to 2.1. Yeah, and then on this side, I'm gonna go here to 1.9 on the ruler, and then only 2 millimeter difference would be totally fine, right? And then what's next?
Connect point 1, 2, 3.
So now 2 and 3 has already been connected, right? So as a beginner, I would strongly recommend that you do a dot when you find an intersection, so that you don't, overdraw it or miss it. Does that make sense? Like yesterday, you went all the way outside, right? Okay, so now, 1 is here, 2 is here. So I put it on the intersection again. Go stretch the string, press it down straight, and then slide one way. Okay, then stretch string, slide one way. I'm very careful when I slide to make sure that I don't miss the dot, miss the cross. Yeah. So I'm gonna do this again because we got into her hair and then the lines sort of like kind of unclear. Okay, that's better. So this is what I'm doing this just for you guys. I don't really do this. So I'm dotting so that you see that where the top line is, right? On this side, it's pretty clear where the top line is, okay? On that side, since we're cutting through her hair off a little bit, right? Okay. All right, so what's next?
Determine point
5, 6
to complete the bottom line.
So 0.5 is
The
center
Center of
of the
the
pupil.
the
the
pupil.
pupil.
the center of the
Correct.
eye.
So what I like to do is by asking the client to hold the mirror up straight up like this and look at the tip of her nose, super quick, and then I just go, and then she is about 1.9 on this side, and then this side she's about 2. So I would follow the 2. Make sense? So because 2 is further away. Now
Further
close
away
your
from
eyes
the
for me,
center.
please. So put this on 2, and then wrap all the way down, slide it up. At 2, wrap all the way down, and then slide up. So that's 0.5. And then 6 is,
Typically 3 millimeters behind 0.2.
so start 0.2 is, and then count. 1, 2, 3, then slide up. 1, 2, 3, slide up. There you go. Now I'm done with the string, and I'm also done with the glove as well. Okay. See, that didn't take long, right?
For you.
So now what's next?
Determine a thickness of 0.5 and 6 using standard thickness progression. And
So
use
now-
the caliper.
So she's an 8 here, right?
Uh-huh.
So I double check. Perfect, that's exactly 8. So it's 8, 7, 6, but we don't mark, and then 5. So now I move this to 7. Then put it on the top line. The top line, you see that is the, so you see there's a one horizontal line here.
Mhm.
That's not the top line, right? This diagonal line is the top line of the eyebrow.
Mhm.
So make sure that you very clear on that.
Where you connected the points already, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So this is where 7 millimeter would be. So you see that how I go inside of the caliper.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the outside of it. So 8, 7, 6, 5. So I move this to 5. Turn this around. And then from the top line is the diagonal one down here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's it. So I'm doing one side for now. Stretch, use the pencil. From 0.6, go to 0.3. You see how skinny and fine the pencil look? So 6 to 3, 6 to 5. 4 up, 5 down. That's it. So super skinny little line. So right, and then what I like to do is I'm gonna use an alcohol wipe. Or you can just, use alcohol and dip this into alcohol, right? I prefer to do this. And then I would clean all the black lines out. Now, remember, if you were to do full microblading, this is it, right? so you don't have to fill them in. Yeah, just do the outline and you're done. You can use the white marker to dot 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 and start microblading. But if you do machine shading, you definitely want to fill them in just lightly. Yes. Now when I fill them in, I prefer to use the color that's, you know, kind of better represent what we gonna do on the client. For example, she has browner, lighter hair, so I'm gonna use browner, lighter color to fill it in. Otherwise, she's gonna look very intense. Now, I want you to notice that I'm intentionally not removing the sticky tape, the sticky ruler. I'm not gonna remove it until I'm done with both eyebrows and the client gives me the final approval. Because in case she's like, oh, it's too this, to that, or this or that, then I can make changes and make sure the measurement is still correct on both eyebrows. So in here, it's gonna be barely any color in there. I'm gonna be quite dark in here. Now, remember that this one from point 2 to point 3, we have to soften it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of soften and curve it a little bit. Just lightly. And soften in here just a little bit. Okay, so and when you're actually working on a real client, you do not shave or, you know, remove any eyebrow hair until the client gives you, like, you know, the final approval on this side. Giving a little bit of foundation. And a flat brush. So now see how I spread the foundation quite thin, and then I wipe a lot of it off, like all of it off basically. And then I'm just gonna use the tip of the brush to back into the foundation like this, just at the tip. So not on the side of the brush, but just the tip, right? And then I start cleaning. You see how I keep the brush very flat to the skin? So this is wrong.
Yeah.
This flat like this is good. Now, some students ask me, like, can we just use the white pencil that we used to clean the lip mapping to do this? You can, but usually if you need approval from your client, if you use the white pencil, the white border makes the eyebrow look actually make it look bigger than what it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the white border, using the white pencil, it just makes it like, you know. So that's why I don't use it. Using the foundation, the client can actually see what it's gonna look like a lot better. But if the client's like, do whatever, I trust you, you know, then you can use the white pencil, but I always want to make sure that I get client's approval.
This weather is making my
Mhm.
everything.
Like don't dry.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe because I turned on the heater.
No, it's just the weather's so funny that it makes. I never had allergies until I like moved here.
How do you like the shape?
I love it. Very nice.
Your eyebrows are naturally nice
Mhm.
too.
Right, it just has
Yeah.
nice full brows to
Yeah.
begin with, right?
Yeah. You're lucky.
I had a lot thicker before.
Did you ever follow that trend, the skinny brow?
Not really, but they were kind of skinny, a little.
Did you pluck them or just?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
But they're still so
Thank
nice.
you.
Right, so I'm not gonna do this side just to save time, but basically once the client gives me the approval, then I'm gonna go ahead and use my shaver razor, eyebrow razor, to remove in the unwanted hair surrounding. And then like on this side, if the clients like absolutely love this side already, then I can go ahead and remove the hair outside of the line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I can just, because then it will be make my life a lot easier when I fill them in and cleaning the shape.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that's it. And then now I want you to show the reason why we have to be that sharp, because let's say that if this is the needle, when you stretch the skin, when you do the outline, you have to know exactly where the needle is going to land to do the outline technique. If you don't do the outline technique, that's fine too. You can just go ahead and start whipping, right? The whip. But if you want to do the outline technique, you have to make sure that, you know, the edges are like, when you stretch, there's no blurred line.
Has to be nice and crisp.
See that? That's like super crisp like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Thank you.